Good afternoon. Today's topic is heme catabolism and jaundice. Catabolism of heme to bilirubin. After approximately 120 days, the heme group of hemoglobin is released from the dying erythrocytes in the spleen and is degraded to yield free Fe2 plus and ultimately bilirubin. First, hemoglobin is dissociated into heme and globin. As hemoglobin is a conjugated protein, it consists of both the protein as well as non-protein part. The protein part of hemoglobin is called as globin and non-protein part is called as heme. As the protein part is globin, so globin is degraded to its constituent amino acids and which is again reused or reutilized. So this is in detail about degradation of hemoglobin to bilirubin. So after 120 days, the hemoglobin is released from the red blood cells and hemoglobin is dissociated to globin and heme. As globin is a protein part of the hemoglobin, so it is again dissociated or degraded to amino acids and these amino acids are reutilized in the body. Then the heme is the non-protein part. So the heme is acted upon by the enzyme heme oxygenase in presence of oxygen and NADPH plus H plus. It liberates Fe3 plus and carbon monoxide and it forms a first formed green colored bile pigment that is biliverdin. So biliverdin in presence of again biliverdin reductase it gets converted to a yellow colored bile pigment called as bilirubin in presence of NADPH plus H plus. So biliverdin and bilirubin are the bile pigments. So biliverdin is a green colored bile pigment and bilirubin is a yellow color bile pigment. So catabolism of heme is carried out in microsomes by a complex enzyme system called heme oxygenase in presence of NADPH plus H plus and oxygen. Ferric ion and carbon monoxide are released with production of a green colored pigment called as biliverdin. Biliverdin is reduced to red orange colored pigment called as bilirubin. Bilirubin and its derivatives are collectively termed as bile pigments. Then fate of bilirubin. What happens to this bilirubin after synthesis? So this bilirubin which has been formed, the metabolism and excretion of bilirubin occurs in the liver and intestine. It can be divided into 4 different processes. So the bilirubin which is formed is transported to the liver. So first one is uptake of bilirubin by the liver and second one is conjugation of bilirubin in the liver with glucuronic acid which is produced by the hepatocytes of the liver. So once the bilirubin is conjugated, then this conjugated bilirubin is secreted into the bile. Then this conjugated bilirubin from the bile enters into the intestine and then excreted out as urobilinogen. So in the liver, so once the bilirubin is formed, it is transported to the liver and in the liver it undergoes conjugation. So in the process of conjugation, the hepatocytes of the liver produces glucuronic acid. So this glucuronic acid gets conjugated with the bilirubin in presence of enzyme UDP glucuronide transferase. So in presence of this enzyme, bilirubin gets conjugated with glucuronic acid to form bilirubin monoglucuronide. And another molecule of glucuronic acid comes and gets conjugated in presence of same enzyme to form bilirubin diglucuronide. So bilirubin diglucuronide is said to be the conjugated bilirubin. Then the 5 major processes involved in the metabolism of hemoglobin. First one is the formation of bilirubin. Then this bilirubin when it is formed, it is transported to the liver. So in the liver uptakes this bilirubin and conjugates it with 2 molecules of glucuronic acid to form bilirubin diglucuronide and once this bilirubin is conjugated, it is excreted through bile into the intestine, and in the intestine it is converted to urobilinogen, and then it is excreted in the feces as well as in the urine in the form of stercobilin and urobilin. So disorders of bilirubin metabolism. The normal concentration of serum bilirubin is the total bilirubin levels should be less than 1 milligram per deciliter, or it should be in the range of 0.1 to 1 milligram per deciliter. Then conjugated bilirubin level should be in the range of 0.1 to 0.4 milligrams per deciliter. Unconjugated bilirubin level should be in the range of 0.2 to 0.7 milligrams per deciliter. Here, the conjugated bilirubin is also called as direct bilirubin because here the test which is used to assess the bilirubin levels is Vandenberg reaction. Here in the Vandenberg reaction, this bilirubin reacts with diazotized sulfonilic acid to form a purple colored complex called as azobilirubin. In the case of conjugated bilirubin, the conjugated bilirubin directly reacts with diazotized sulfonilic acid to form azobilirubin directly. Hence, it is called as direct bilirubin. Conjugated bilirubin is called as direct bilirubin. In the case of unconjugated bilirubin, here the unconjugated bilirubin does not react directly with diazotized sulfonilic acid, that is Vandenberg reagent, but in presence of alcohol, this unconjugated bilirubin reacts with diazotized sulfonilic acid or Vandenberg reagent to form azobilirubin. Hence, it is called as indirect bilirubin because it reacts with Vandenberg reagent in presence of alcohol. So indirect bilirubin, direct bilirubin reacts in presence of alcohol. Then diseases or conditions that interfere with bilirubin metabolism may cause a rise in its serum concentration when bilirubin in the blood exceeds more than 1 milligram per deciliter. It is called as hyperbilirubinemia. Hyperbilirubinemia may be due to increased bilirubin production, decreased hepatic uptake, decreased hepatic conjugation, decreased excretion of bilirubin into the bile. So increased bilirubin production may be due to excessive lysis of RBCs and increased production of bilirubin due to excessive RBC lysis. It may occur in the conditions like sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, or some other diseases, physiological conditions, etc. So where there is increased production of bilirubin than the ability of the liver to conjugate it. So here there is increased bilirubin production than the ability of the liver to conjugate it due to the disorders. Then decreased hepatic uptake. So maybe due to some diseases there is decreased hepatic uptake even though the production of bilirubin is normal, but due to the decreased hepatic uptake there is increased bilirubin levels in the blood. Then the third one, decreased hepatic conjugation. Here due to the damage of hepatocytes there is decreased production of glucuronic acid. So due to the production of decreased glucuronic acid there is decrease in conjugation of bilirubin. So the production of bilirubin is normal, but due to the decreased ability of the liver to conjugate the bilirubin levels are elevated in the blood. So then the last one, that is decreased excretion of bilirubin into the bile. Even though the production and conjugation is normal, but due to some obstruction to the passage of bile or excretion of bile, so there is elevation in bilirubin levels. When the bilirubin in the blood reaches a certain concentration, approximately 2.5 to 5 milligram per deciliter, it diffuses into the tissues. When it diffuses into the tissues, the skin and sclera appears yellowish due to the deposition of bilirubin in the tissues. This clinical condition is called as jaundice or icterus. Then hyperbilirubinemia may be of two different types, that is acquired or inherited. So acquired hyperbilirubinemia may be due to the food habits, lifestyle or physiological conditions. So inherited bilirubinemias are inherited directly or genetically from the parents. So let us see and compare both of them. So acquired hyperbilirubinemia are of four types. So that is hemolytic jaundice or prehepatic jaundice. Hepatic jaundice or hepatocellular jaundice, and third one is obstructive jaundice or post-hepatic jaundice, and fourth one is the neonatal jaundice or physiological jaundice. Inherited hyperbilirubinemias are Gilbert syndrome, Crigler-Najjar syndrome, Dubin-Johnson syndrome, and Rotor syndrome. So let us analyze one by one. So the conjugated and unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia, so where the acquired hyperbilirubinemia, where the conjugated bilirubin levels are elevated, or obstructive jaundice and hepatic jaundice, and the acquired hyperbilirubinemia, where the unconjugated bilirubin levels are elevated, are present in hemolytic jaundice, hepatic jaundice, and neonatal jaundice. And the inherited hyperbilirubinemia, where only conjugated bilirubin levels are elevated, are seen in Dubin-Johnson syndrome and Rotor syndrome. And inherited hyperbilirubinemia, where only unconjugated bilirubin levels are elevated, is observed in Crigler-Najjar syndrome and Gilbert syndrome. Then prehepatic or hemolytic jaundice. So in prehepatic or hemolytic jaundice, there is increased breakdown of hemoglobin into bilirubin at a rate in excess of the ability of the liver cells to conjugate it and excrete it. So in prehepatic or hemolytic jaundice, there is excessive production of bilirubin than the ability of the liver to conjugate it with glucuronic acid. So the liver is normal, the glucuronic acid production is normal, but due to the increased production of bilirubin, the liver is incapable to conjugate all the bilirubin which is produced. So this condition is found in sickle cell hemoglobin deficiency of enzyme glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase and incompatible blood transfusions. Biochemical features of hemolytic jaundice or prehepatic jaundice are increased plasma concentration of unconjugated bilirubin, increased amount of urobilinogen in the urine, and absence of bilirubin in the urine. Since the excess of bilirubin is unconjugated, it is not excretable in the urine. Then the second one, that is hepatocellular or hepatic jaundice. So hepatic parenchymal cell damage impedes the uptake of conjugation of bilirubin and results in unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia. So hepatocellular damage commonly have obstruction of the liver biliary tree that leads to increased plasma levels of conjugated bilirubin also. So in hepatocellular jaundice or hepatic jaundice, so there is elevation of both the conjugated as well as unconjugated bilirubin. So here, this type of hyperbilirubinemia is observed in liver damage, usually during infections, toxic chemicals, drugs, and cirrhosis of liver. Biochemical features of hepatic jaundice are increased plasma concentration of conjugated and unconjugated bilirubin, decreased amount of urobilinogen in the urine, presence of bilirubin in the urine, raised levels of alanine transaminase and aspartate transaminase enzymes, so which serves as a marker for the liver functions. Then post-hepatic or obstructive jaundice. In this jaundice, there is obstruction in the common bile duct that prevents the passage of conjugated bilirubin from the liver into the intestine. So this obstruction may be due to the blockage of common bile duct by gallstones, carcinoma of the head of the pancreas, carcinoma of the duct itself. The biochemical manifestations of posthepatic jaundice are increased plasma concentration of conjugated bilirubin, absence of urobilinogen in the feces and urine, the presence of bilirubin in the bile salts and in the urine, raised levels of plasma alkaline phosphatase, and the last one, that is neonatal or physiological jaundice. So neonatal or physiological jaundice may be due to the increased hemolysis due to immature liver UDP glucuronide transferase enzyme system, which is necessary for conjugation. So in the newborn babies there is immature liver, and due to which there is immature liver, there is a decreased production or immature liver production of UDP glucuronide transferase enzyme system. So due to this, the unconjugated bilirubin concentration in the plasma exceeds 20 to 25 milligrams per deciliter. This results in hyperbilirubinemic toxic encephalopathy or kernicterus, which can cause mental retardation if not corrected in the early stages. So here is the flow chart. You can see the normal person, the conjugated bilirubin levels is 0.1 to 0.4 milligrams per deciliter, and this conjugated or direct bilirubin is normal in the hemolytic jaundice, but it is increased in hepatocellular and obstructive jaundice. And the unconjugated bilirubin level in the normal healthy adult person ranges from 0.2 to 0.7 milligrams per deciliter, and these unconjugated bilirubin levels are elevated both in hemolytic as well as hepatocellular jaundice, but the unconjugated bilirubin levels are normal in obstructive jaundice. Then the urobilinogen levels in the normal healthy adult person is 0.4 milligrams in 24 hours urine, but in hemolytic jaundice, hemolytic jaundice persons, these urobilinogen levels are increased, and in hepatocellular jaundice this is decreased, and in obstructive jaundice it is totally absent. The bilirubin in the urine is normally absent in the normal healthy adult persons. It is also absent in hemolytic jaundice, but the bilirubin in the urine is present in hepatocellular and obstructive jaundice. So this is how, by seeing these characteristics, you can differentiate the different types of jaundice. So you can differentiate between hemolytic, hepatic and obstructive jaundice. Then inherited hyperbilirubinemias. So Gilbert syndrome. It is an inherited disease characterized by mild unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia, which is due to impaired hepatic uptake of bilirubin and partial conjugation defect due to reduced activity of UDP glucuronide transferase. Then Crigler-Najjar syndrome. This is also an inherited disease due to the deficiency of enzyme hepatic glucuronide transferase enzyme. So this is of two forms, that is type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is characterized by complete absence of conjugating enzyme glucuronide transferase, and therefore no conjugated bilirubin is formed. This causes severe jaundice with kernicterus and early death. And type 2 is less severe form in which the enzyme deficiency is partial and is compatible with more prolonged survival. Dubin-Johnson syndrome. This is harmless autosomal recessive disorder and is due to the defective hepatic secretion of conjugated bilirubin into the bile. and is characterized by slightly raised plasma conjugated bilirubin levels. So it is characterized by abnormal black pigment in hepatocytes, imparting a dark brown to black color to the liver. So this is about hyperbilirubinemias and jaundice, and this is the assignment. You need to complete it and send it back to me on Telegram.